welcome to our special show, Living Long and Healthy with COVID Vaccination. I'm Gargi Rawat. Now, this is a unique initiative which seeks to address concerns that people may have with regards to the COVID vaccination and living in the new normal. Now, the risk of COVID infections continue even as we've reduced restrictions in all parts of the country, and vaccination is the only way to counter the pandemic. Well, today we have with us experts to address any concerns and questions that you may have about the vaccinations. Joining us on the show, we have Dr. Santosh N. Harkude, endocrinologist and diabetologist at the Navodaya Super Speciality Center, Karnataka. We have Dr. S.K. Mishra, Associate Professor, Department of Cardiology at the MKCG Medical College, Odisha, and Dr. T. Anbuchelvam, a consultant physician and diabetologist, Associate Professor, Life Care Hospital, Kanchipuram. Thank you so much, doctors, for taking time out and joining us on the show today to, clear any doubts and answer all these questions. I'd like to start with you, Dr. Harkude. Why should people who are diabetic get the COVID vaccination?
As you rightly said, that the infections continues to increase. The risk of infection, the risk of acquiring the infection is same for every individual. If the person is not following social distancing or not wearing mask. But as we all know that from the previous 1 year, there are few categories of people who are at a very high risk of getting a severe infection. That is, they may land up in ventilators. Diabetic people are among one such category, especially the uncontrolled diabetes people. So these are the people, they can minimize the risk by duly getting vaccinated. These patients should volunteer in large numbers and go ahead and get vaccinated so that the risk of severe infection reduces in all these people.
All right. Dr. S.K. Mishra, does the immunity that one gets post-COVID infection last longer than the protection one receives from the COVID vaccines?
In fact, experts are still learning more about how long vaccines give protection against COVID-19 in the real world situations. Probably these vaccines will be the immunity provided after vaccination will be more predictable and maybe longer lasting. In one study in a metro, when they did sero survey to find out the immunity level of persons who were infected with COVID-19, it was found that even after 4 to 6 weeks, only 30% had detectable antibody level, which was effective. So, following natural infection, the immune response may not be that predictable, and for how long it lasts, it is difficult to say. But following vaccinations, probably the immune response is more predictable and it may last longer. But it is still early days to predict.
All right. And Dr. Anbuchelvam, currently, a lot of people have got the first dose of the vaccine, especially those who are over 60 years of age. How effective is one dose of the COVID vaccine compared to 2 doses?
First of all, I want to congratulate the people of India and Government of India for having 2 vaccines for the use of people. We have Covishield and Covaxin, which satisfy not only the country's need, almost we are catering the globe. It's a proud moment as an Indian. And we have 2 vaccines, I told you. One is Covishield and Covaxin. Covishield, if you take first dose, after 21 days you will have immunity of 60%. If you take the second dose, preferably between 42 to 56 days after the first dose, you will get immunity power of 82%. This is Covishield. To the other side, you have Covaxin. You take first dose. After 4 to 6 weeks, that is 30 to 42 days, you take the second dose. After the second dose, in another 2 weeks or 3 weeks, you will get 81% of the immunity. These are beautiful vaccines. Both are equal. And difference between these 2 vaccines, Covishield can tackle UK and Brazil variant very well, to some extent about South African variant. Covaxin can tackle all the 3 UK, Brazil and South African variant. So people get vaccinated and join the fight against the corona with the nation.
Dr. Harkude, a lack of exercise has also resulted in weight gain for people with diabetes, especially during the lockdown when people couldn't go out. Should dosages of existing diabetes medicines be changed, keeping this in mind?
over the last 1 year, we have seen that the lifestyles of many of the people have changed drastically. If you see, most of the people are being confined at their homes. Because of this, there is definitely a disparity between energy consumption and energy expenditure. Being at home, people tend to eat more. Vis-a-vis also, the amount of exercise they do has been decreasing. With this, yes, there are people in my clinic, we have seen that they have gained at least 4 to 5 kgs in the last 5 to 6 months. Especially more so in the diabetic population, this has been reflected in a very bad blood sugars. Their glycemic profile has worsened. Before we increase the anti-diabetic medications, we have to revisit our lifestyle. I request to most of the people to have a balanced diet, to reduce their calories, have intake at a regular amount of time. After doing all these things, even if the blood sugar is popping high, only then we have to change your medications. So the basic norm is you have to revisit your lifestyle, have a proper diet schedule. Only after this, you have to increase the medicines, not unnecessarily.
Dr. Mishra, people who have been vaccinated, and if they come into contact with somebody who has coronavirus, do they still have to quarantine? How big is the risk?
Difference between the home management of diabetes and in clinical setup. When the patient reach out the doctor for clinical management diabetes, our hospital having 3 objectives in front of us. Number 1 is to prevent the contamination or prevent the contact of the disease. This one we are following sanitization, masking and social distancing. The objective number 2 is to reduce the risk of exposure. If the diabetic patient having high risk of contacting COVID infections, even the mortality with normal population is around 2.3%, whereas with diabetic patients it is 7.8%. So by giving them a good glycemic control, we are going to reduce the risk of getting contaminated with the disease. And third object, if at all the diabetic patient develop corona infections, we are keeping all other vitals and the parameters stable to counteract and fight against the COVID virus. So with these 3 objects, the clinical management in the hospital, even though it is little bit tough, but the patient have the feel of they are seeing the doctor physically and having the healing touch.
All right, Dr. S.K. Mishra, does one still have to quarantine after they've been vaccinated if they've come in close contact with somebody who has coronavirus? How large are the risks?
A vaccinated person who comes in contact with a person who is COVID positive and symptomatic need not be quarantined if he satisfies the following conditions. Like if the person is fully vaccinated, by that I mean if he has received 2 doses of either Covishield or Covaxin that is available, and if the exposure is within 3 months of the second dose of the vaccine, and if the exposed person, that means who is vaccinated, is not symptomatic. If he satisfies these 3 conditions, the person who is vaccinated need not be quarantined.
All right. Dr. Harkude, for people who are suffering from diabetes, is there anything that they need to, take special care of, anything they need to look out for after they get the vaccine?
Okay, not specifically so. These are the norms has to be followed by in general for all the population. So the vaccine is, as we know, is definitely safe as per the DCGI, and also there are few minor illnesses after vaccine. Especially we have seen people with coming with injection site pain. This is one thing, and second, there are few people who may experience generalized body pain, and there are few people who may get fever. So my suggestion would be to be at home, take adequate rest. Second, maintain proper hydration during the summer. And the third, if required, you can take some amount of analgesics as prescribed by your doctors. Most importantly, all these will subside within 24 hours, 24 to 36 hours, after which you can resume your normal activities. So it is not specific for diabetic population. It is in general guidelines for these post-vaccination people.
All right, so nothing special for those, suffering from diabetes that they have to take after getting vaccinated. Well, with that, time for us to slip into a short break, but we'll be back with more information and answering all your concerns regarding the vaccine process. Welcome back to our special show, Living Long and Healthy with COVID Vaccination. We have with us Dr. Santosh Harkode, Dr. S.K. Mishra and Dr. T. Anbuchelvam to answer any questions and concerns that people have regarding the vaccines. Now, Dr. Mishra, I'd like to come to you. Is vaccination safe for people who've undergone a bypass surgery?
Yeah, it is absolutely safe for somebody who has undergone a bypass surgery to take COVID-19 vaccine. But you have to remember certain things. If in presence of acute illness or if he is hospitalized for any other non-COVID illness, must avoid taking the vaccine for 4 to 6 weeks. And most of these patients, they take blood thinners, that is antiplatelet agents. And this is no contraindication to get a vaccine injection. But one should have a look at the blood parameters like the complete blood count, especially the platelet counts, if is to get Covishield vaccine. If there is thrombocytopenia, must avoid. And if he is on oral anticoagulation, you should get the prothrombin time and INR value. If the INR value is more than 3, then he must avoid it. If it is less than 3, there is no problem in taking the vaccine. So in general, there is no contraindication for a person who has undergone bypass surgery to get this vaccine injection.
All right. Dr. Anbuchelvam, are lab tests now essential to evaluate the state of diabetes?
So usually the diabetic patients are reluctant, any patient, of course diabetic patients are reluctant in seeing the doctor and reluctant in taking the medications and doing tests, because if the taking test is painful or not, because of all those things they are reluctant in following up medical checkup. During this pandemic, they have the chance not to meet the doctor. Actually, they are enjoying a lot to the lighter side. But after this 1 year of lockdown, when we see the patient, definitely we are going to take all the tests and make sure they are not having any macrovascular and microvascular complication, so that we can prepare those diabetic population to face the second wave, which is almost in India. So we have to repeat the lab test, we have to do the investigations, do the ECG, make sure those people are out of complications and they are ready to face the second wave.
All right. Dr. Mishra, how does one take care of, eyes, mental stress and back pain? Because these are certain issues being reported by those who suffer from coronavirus, also sometimes by those who take the vaccine.
So regarding eyes, I think the coronavirus affecting eyes is not very common. Some have reported retinal problems, thrombosis and hemorrhage, but I don't think there is much of a problem. Joint pain is like any other viral illness that can happen, and that's not a big problem. Dr.
Anbuchelvam, there's also a lot of talk about the variants now. If you could tell us a bit about that, because we've seen the kind of havoc that they've wreaked in, we're seeing what's happening in Brazil, in UK, in the US as well, South Africa, here as well. Some variants have been, detected. If you could tell us more about that.
If you ask me, what about this severity of the new variants? Usually, the virology teaches whenever a new virus arises or affect the population, it will sequentially undergo antigenic shift and drift, and lot of mutation will be there. This mutation will facilitate the microorganism or a virus to spread very fastly or reduce the spread. Usually what happens, the virulence will come down after new variants. Okay, so now we have 3 variants from different part of the world. One is UK variant and Brazil variant and South African variant. Of these 3, South African variant has high virulence. It spread more and cause more mortality. So already I told you, the Covishield having the ability to tackle UK and Brazil variant, our Covaxin having the ability to tackle all the 3 strains. So don't bother about the strains. Vaccination is very, very important. sanitization, masking and social distancing is very, very important.
All right. And Dr. Harkade, there are also reports that people who, have been infected with coronavirus, some of them are even developing diabetes. This is something that's quite worrying. There's some research in the UK. If you could tell us a bit about that.
Yeah, there are some reports telling that if the patient is not a diabetic and he has contracted the disease, especially more so that there are few receptors on our pancreas which are affected by the coronavirus, and especially in some subgroup of people we are seeing a new onset of diabetes. And apart from this, those people who are pre-existing diabetes and they contract the disease, their diabetes is getting worsened. This goes for two reasons. One is because of the treatment per se, where steroid is a protocol for treatment of the disease which increases blood sugar, and also the virus itself has some role acting on the beta cells of the pancreas and causing the beta cell dysfunction. So hence causing worsening of the diabetes. There is worsening of the diabetes. Also, there is development of new onset diabetes. So for all these, the major thing is you have to modify your lifestyle, have a good and a balanced diet, avoid weight gain, avoid unnecessary travel, so that you will reduce the exposure of the virus. Hence, you will indirectly reducing the post-COVID complications. We don't know yet what are the post-COVID complications. It is only 1 year, but we will come to know in the future days. So prevention is always better than cure. So have a happy life at home itself.
All right, prevention. That means continue following, all the COVID protocols which we've been, told to do in this last 1 year. Dr. Mishra, coming back to the issue of, since many people over 60 are now taking the vaccine, now over 45, and so many people in our country on blood thinners, one of the questions that we get again and again is, can people who are taking blood thinners take the vaccine safely? Should they, go off the blood thinners just before the vaccination? What is your advice?
People who are on blood thinners can safely take the vaccine injection. It's no issue. But one thing, they should be aware about their blood counts, like their thrombocyte level, that platelets. If there is thrombocyte level is less, that is thrombocytopenia, then there is they have to exercise caution. So otherwise, there is absolutely no contraindications for people, those who are on blood thinners, who are aged or younger. They can very well take the injection. There is no issue.
All right. So that's a question we get very often. Well, thank you so much, doctors, for taking time out and answering all those queries and concerns that people have regarding the vaccination drive. And do remember, if you're eligible for the vaccine, that's the advice all the doctors are giving, that just go ahead and get the vaccine. That's the only way we can defeat this pandemic. Thanks so much for watching. Goodbye.